Welcome to Pageant Planet's podcast, where we share stories and strategies to help expand and connect the global pageant community. Visit pageantplanet.com to find pageants, hire coaches, shop for dresses, and more. Now, here's your host, Stephen Roddy.
Welcome everyone to another episode. Today, Jesse and myself, we are going to be discussing the life of Katerina Rozmajzl. So Jesse, set the stage for us.
Stephen, Katerina Rozmajzl may look like a Barbie doll with her waist-long platinum blonde hair and icy blue eyes, but don't make the mistake of writing her off as just a model or underestimating her business acumen. I am personally super excited for today's podcast because I learned so much about this contestant for Miss USA that I had no idea. I just thought she was this Instagram model that just like poof appeared on the pageant stage. And there was so much more behind the scenes I had no idea. So I hope our listeners will learn a bunch too.
Yeah, so this Czech-born Instagram star is a brilliant and ambitious business Mongol who runs her own beauty and fashion blog and launched her very own beauty line, Katerina Cosmetics, at only 19 years old.
Yep, she's a full-time model. She's held a state title, Miss Georgia USA. She's running a global business, and she's an Instagram megastar. And earlier this year, she made her debut in the movie Dumplin' with Jennifer Aniston on Netflix, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. She has nearly 700,000 followers on Instagram, but it was her appearance at the 2019 Miss USA pageant where she competed at the Miss Georgia USA that she really gained her worldwide attention. And today on our podcast, we are excited to learn just a little bit more about Katerina Rozmajzl.
Yeah, and we asked our followers on Instagram to share what they love most about Katerina, and we had a bunch of responses. And the first one comes from Hannah Burns, double-N-S. She said, she's so stunning. I love how close she is with her sisters and how she always posts pictures with them. It's awesome that she can balance running her business, being a state title holder, and spending time with her family. And you'll hear more about how her sisters come into play a little bit later.
Yeah, she's got 5 sisters, and they all look like supermodels. 4 sisters? Yeah, it was crazy. But Katerina began using her Instagram in 2015 to produce her own beauty and fashion blog just for fun. But the added benefit of being so active on Instagram was that it allowed her to learn how to effectively communicate and connect with other young women. She started out as a model for Sherry Hill and Beach Bunny swimwear, and because of her Instagram blog, she added fashion influencer to her list. She's a brand ambassador for companies like Forever 21, Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Thing, Hot Miami Styles, and many, many more.
And Stephen, I don't know if you know any of those brands, but as a female on Instagram, like those are some of the most popular brands that do use influencers. And like, I find that their strategy works so well. I'm constantly finding that I'm clicking through to those links because of who they're choosing. And one of the things I've noticed too is Katerina shows so many photos of her in Sherry Hill gowns. And I know we have a feature coming up on Pageant Planet behind the scenes where if you love Sherry Hill gowns, but you're on like a Windsor store budget, I think we might have a way to make it work for them, don't we?
Yeah. So on Wednesday, on Halloween, we're launching this new feature where you can sell your old dresses and you can buy like gently used or brand new dresses direct from Pageant Planet. You can buy dresses directly from designers, from other contestants like Katerina herself maybe, and other retailers throughout the globe.
How would they be able to find that one once Wednesday hits?
Just go to pageantplanet.com/dresses and you will see all the dresses, and then you can just click there and you can buy them. And what makes us different from other resale sites is that we actually hold on to your money until you get the dress and it shows up exactly like the photo and like the description. And if it doesn't, we guarantee we will just refund your money.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way for people that are watching Instagram influencers or seeing Sherry Hill models posting this season's gown. And you might love it, but you might not be able to get it right away. Getting the next season isn't the worst thing in the world.
No.
Most judges don't know.
Yeah. And this thing, with what we're rolling out, you can get this season's dress, and you can also get like last season and the season before, because sometimes there's some amazing dresses that just didn't get stage play or that you want to use for another event, etc. And you can get it right from our site.
Yep. Okay, so Let's go back to Katerina though. Like the thing that sets Katerina apart from so many other young fashionistas on Instagram is that she's very hands-on when it comes to her cosmetics business and career.
Like we said, she's not just a pretty girl who takes photos of herself in cute clothes.
Yes, she's an accounting student who attends Kennesaw State University and has already created an entire career for herself, all on her own terms. And she has the goal of obtaining a master's of accountancy and CPA license to operate and expand her company. And she likes to be in total control of her brand and often uses family members throughout her business. And she's, like you said, Stephen, the oldest of 6 girls, all who just happen to look like supermodels. So she doesn't have to go far to find the model when she needs one.
And she really enjoys that she's in a position to help her younger siblings out with their individual career paths. And in fact, her teenage sister, Mariana, is the face of her Cat Eye campaign.
And as far as other personal deets, Katerina has been in a relationship with her boyfriend, Zarek Zaworski, since 2015, and they actually went to their high school prom together.
So Czar, as she calls him, is an incredible, handsome young man who also looks like a supermodel, believe it or not. The couple are constantly referred to as Barbie and Ken, naturally.
Stephen, you've seen a picture of him, correct?
Yes.
They are literally the most physically beautiful couple I've ever seen.
Right. When Renata's the name of my wife, for those of you that don't know, when she saw Katerina, she said, I seriously think that this is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life.
Truly. And then you see her boyfriend and you're like, and he is the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life. They're just like picture perfect.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay. They go together.
Yeah. Right. And they both look so exotic too. It's like, actually they look exotic, but in the most all-American way possible.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's like the weirdest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she became interested in pageants when she was 17 years old, which blew my mind. I really, really thought this was the first time because I was like, I swore if all my time following pageants, I would have heard about this stunning girl with this massive following. But she became interested in pageants at 17, which is right about the same time she started up her Instagram channel. And it was modeling for Sherry Hill that she got the idea to try her hand at pageantry.
The people she worked with at Sherry Hill thought she'd be a great fit for the pageant world. After all, she spent all of her time modeling pageant gowns, so it just seemed like a natural move. Katerina thought it sounded like a lot of fun to her, so she decided to enter to see where it might lead, and she began her journey in 2015 when she entered the Miss Georgia Teen USA pageant, where she was named the top 15 semifinalists.
And determined to win the crown, Katerina returned the following year and competed for the crown of Miss Georgia Teen USA 2016. Not only did she make the semifinals, she was named the top 5 and walked away as third runner-up. So good improvement.
Yeah. And in 2017, Katerina decided to take a year off from the pageant world, but she had a very good reason. This was the year that she launched her cosmetic company, Katerina Cosmetics, at only the age of 19. But after conquering the beauty industry, Katerina returned and registered for the 2018 Miss Georgia USA pageant, this time competing as a Miss contestant.
And I'll say when we posted on Instagram, asked people to share what they liked most about her, so many people talked about the fact that she could balance her business with everything else she was doing. I think that's really admirable that she's kind of made that part of her brand. Is she's just not this Instagram model. She does all this too. So Ariana Vale said on Instagram, the fact that she isn't afraid to own her own business and continue pursuing her degree. So it's widely known that she is multifaceted and people love that about her.
Yeah. And maybe one of the elements that helped her is like, she does have such a beautiful look. Mm-hmm. And like that, maybe that's one of the things that held her back from the team, but then it caused her just to excel immediately as a Miss.
Yes. And oftentimes the transition from a teen competitor to a Miss is really confusing and challenging for young pageant girls. And we talked about that last week. Everything you need to do is different. And the judges are looking for a mature young woman and not a fresh-faced teenager.
Yeah. Going from one age division to another in such a short period of time can feel very uncomfortable. But Katerina felt the most... must have had an incredible amount of confidence because on her first attempt at the Miss title, she made it into the top 5 and ultimately placed as 4th runner-up. Again, like she's still like totally under our radar at this point. We don't even know like she's competing.
Because every state pageant, like we're constantly stalking out like top 5 photos so you can post it to like their profile page, the pageant profile. And I swear I should have realized it.
Yeah. I'm like same.
Blown.
Yep.
Blown away. So as encouraged as she was by her strong performance, Katerina knew she had to come back and give it another try. And this time it was very simple. The crown was hers. And on November 17th, 2018, Katerina Rozmajzl was crowned Miss Georgia USA 2019.
And Katerina wasted no time in unrolling her plan of action for her year of service. She is the ambassador of an international organization called Kiva, which helps to provide financial support to women wanting to start their own businesses. This is very similar, like what we were talking about, like find an area of your passion, like with your platform. Yep. And we've even used this very same example. Like if you're an entrepreneur or you have an entrepreneurial spirit, find something where you can help other people do that. And she clearly has tapped into it.
Yep. And the organization whose motto is Fuel Her Future began a movement for financial inclusion back in 2005 and have since grown to 1.8 million lenders, including Katerina, which means they provide incredible crowdfunding community, and they've eventually lent over $1 billion to 3.4 million of women around the globe. And this is a cause that is near and dear to Katerina's heart because as a young female entrepreneur, she knows firsthand how difficult it is to finance and build a business. So I think this is definitely a coaching moment, and it's to pursue untraditional platforms. We're constantly hearing about health ailments or charities.
Bullying is a big one that we
Bullying
hear
is a huge one. Totally. So let's think outside the box and push ourselves and think, okay, what areas of my life are important to me, and how can I make that important to others, or how can I help others that are maybe experiencing challenges in this area?
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've been in some interview rooms where a girl will say what her platform is, and I just have a really hard time connecting that platform with her. Like, I just don't see it. Yeah, I understand that maybe she has a grandma that suffered with Alzheimer's or whatnot, but it just seems like a disconnect between the girl that I'm looking at or how she's presenting it or something, right? And so sometimes I feel like that's just an energetic thing where it's almost like you need a platform for a pageant. There's a natural story here, so I'm just selecting it versus something that I feel like Katerina did, which was birth it out of your passion.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you a funny story about old school pageantry versus new school pageantry. I had a contestant. Well, this is before I was even a coach, so this is how long ago it was. I was attending a pageant, and someone I knew competed and did not make the finals. And one of the women that did make the finals, her platform was called. I don't know how much I want to say because I don't want people to know who I was talking about. Her platform was essentially about helping women learn how to sell themselves or to sell a business. And I thought it was a genius platform, especially for an international title, because women all over the world are trying to advance themselves in third world countries all the way up to modern developed countries. And this other contestant who didn't make the finals was so crazy. That's not a real platform. She's not helping others. It's a business that she has. And I was like, you know what? Like, finally something different.
Yeah.
Like, this could impact every woman in the world, helping them personally develop themselves, present themselves. So as a judge, I just love hearing something different that I haven't heard 14 times that day.
Right. And again, it's part of marketing, and you're marketing yourself as like, I'm the best person for this job. Part of marketing is sticking out. There's sticking out in a good way, then there's like sticking out in a very bad way. And this just helps to contribute to that differential factor that will allow you to stick out to the judges.
Consider it like if you are competing for the Miss America pageant and you know you have to have a talent, but you don't have a talent and you just pick something because you feel like you have to. That's how I feel like some people approach platforms.
Right. Like, I don't have a talent. Let me just do a monologue.
Right.
Okay, cool.
But I'm sure there's something about that person that they could adapt to the pageant stage. They're just playing it safe.
Yep. Agreed.
So go outside the box. If you have a crazy platform idea, send it to me, Jesse@pageantplanet.com. I want to hear, if you want to explore something, but you think it might be too off the wall, I would love to hear it and see if we can fine tune it and make it work for you, because the more unique, the more individual, but the most impactful wins to me.
I love that. Yep. Email her, Jesse,
cool.
JESSE @PageantPlanet.
You got it.
Okay. So as an ambassador, Katerina helps to fund, support, and mentor women who do not have the same resources that she has, or who don't have access to financial loans to start their own businesses. For example, one young Cambodian girl was forced into an arranged marriage that she didn't want because it was the only option available to her and her parents.
With Kiva's help, she was able to attend a university and became interested in the field of social work. And eventually she was given the opportunity to speak at the European Union delegation, where she gave an impassioned speech on the importance of female representation in government. And one of the ambassadors in attendance was so impressed with this young woman's commitment and potential that she was offered an internship and then a contract with the European Union, where she is now a fierce champion for women's rights.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like when you hear stories like that, it's obvious to see why someone like Katerina is so passionate and dedicated to her work in Kiva. So her current goal is to help Kiva fund loans for 10,000 women around the world. No small feat.
Nope.
But helping to fund financial support to underprivileged female business owners is not the only thing that Katerina is interested in.
And she was also she's dedicated her time towards increasing awareness of human trafficking, as well as aiding the victims who managed to escape those crisis situations. And during her term as Miss Georgia USA, Katerina was awarded the SR 277 Senate resolution by Georgia State Senator John Albers for her extensive community service and commitment to helping women and children.
Yeah, she's not busy at all.
At all.
Among the charitable duties listed on the honor was a personal donation of $5,000 that she had made to Dress for Success in Atlanta. And for the International Day of Yoga, she teamed up with Isabel Blodorn, her Miss Georgia Teen USA, to host a Yoga for Smiles event to the benefit of Smile Train.
And Smile Train, for those who don't know, is an international children's charity that supports free cleft treatment for children in over 85 countries. And Katerina was recognized for her involvement in numerous charitable activities throughout her reign. And it's very clear that her volunteerism and sacrifice of time and effort was greatly appreciated by the state of Georgia.
Yeah, she made a tremendous impact during her time as Miss Georgia USA, and her supporters had very high hopes for her performance at the upcoming Miss USA pageant. Jesse, you and I were two of those. We totally was cheering for her.
And I didn't know any of this.
No,
had I known she was doing all this behind the scenes, I would have been cheering even louder. And I'm glad we're doing this podcast, because I feel like a lot of people are probably like us, where we only knew the surface level of her.
Yeah, where it was amazing headshot that was, it was stunning.
Headshot heard around the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Christy Belcher out of Nashville, Tennessee is the one who did her headshot.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Very nice. So Katerina had a pretty sizable following on Instagram, like we said, prior to the Miss USA pageant, but the national competition is what raised her star power around the world, when people always kind of watch USA when to see who they're going to pick for Miss Universe. And it seemed like every pageant forecaster and YouTube pageant guru had her on their leaderboard, or had included her in their top 10 frontrunners for Miss USA 2019.
Yeah, you couldn't go anywhere on social media without seeing her angelic face, and suddenly people wanted to know more about the Georgia Peach, who looked like a Czechoslovakian supermodel. And so just prior to the Miss USA pageant in Reno, she got an opportunity to do a Facebook interview along with some other state title holders. And the ladies were asked about their experiences during rehearsals, as well as some random pageant questions.
And the first question Katerina was asked if she had given her teen counterpart, Isabella Blodorn, who is, we said, Miss Georgia Teen USA, any advice for her pageant interview.
And she said simply, if you mess up, don't be nervous. It's all about how you recover. Just be natural. Just be naturally who you are, because the judges want to see that. They sometimes want to see you mess up a little bit just to see how you handle it. Those moments really show your true personality.
And when asked what kind of advice that Katerina herself had received that helped her prepare for her own interview, she said that her dad kept it short and sweet and told her, the only person standing in your way is yourself. And Katerina went on to say that this was the best advice he could have given her, and it was so powerful that she decided to share it with her fans and posted it on her Instagram page.
Another question that was asked of all the state title holders was what their favorite part of the competition was, and Katerina gave one of the most surprising answers out of the entire group. And instead of saying the usual, like, oh, I like evening gown or swimsuit, that most pageant girls do, she said that her favorite aspect of competing was the on-stage question, which she calls the fishbowl question.
Yeah, she said, I love the fishbowl question portion of the pageant the most, because it totally puts you on the spot. And I think the audience enjoys really getting to know you, and they get to see how you think in the moment.
For the majority of the pageant contestants, the onstage question is something that really everyone completely dreads. And to hear someone say that they love answering the onstage question and to have such a positive attitude is so foreign to most of us. But when you understand the kind of personality that Katerina has, it makes perfect sense that she would answer that way.
So for those that are listening and are like gripping the car door handle if you're listening in the car, or like you're like gripping the treadmill handle if you're listening while you work out. Here is my favorite on-stage question hack. And I wish I had figured this out when I was competing, because I had so many pageants in a row where I just had like total word regret on stage during on-stage question, but I would like nail my private interview. Like I was constantly winning or private interview, but like failing when it's 5% on-stage question. So basically think about it this way. There's 3 steps to every successful answer. Your actual answer, your explanation of that answer, and those should be like 2 sentences max together. And then the third part is the easy part. It's what I call your X factor. It's an answer, it's an example, a story, or a specific that ties that to you. Because once you get to that part, you know you best. You can tell a story about your life best because you know the story. So if you get a question, you have no idea, just think 1 sentence at a time. Okay, just answer the question. Gut reaction, what is your answer? And then give it a sentence to explain why you said that, and then dive into something personal that's helped you shape that opinion. So 1, 2, 3. So only have to think 1 sentence ahead, and all of a sudden, an onstage question doesn't seem so daunting anymore.
I love that. And if you want more like one-on-one help with that, Jessie can certainly break it down. Just visit pageantplanet.com/prep to schedule time with her to go over that. So this is actually pretty fascinating to learn. Just as the interview was wrapping up, Katerina told the story of how this year the Miss USA pageant put all the contestants into groups according to their personality type. And she didn't go into details about which test was used or how exactly the pageant determined each woman's personality or temperament, but it sounds very much like one of the popular assessments that you might take in college or in a corporate environment.
From what she described, each group of contestants was identified by a color. And Katerina said that she was in the mint group, like the mint color. And there is a temperament assessment tool that's based on the well-known Myers-Briggs type indicator that's called True Colors. I actually have True Colors printed on my coffee table downstairs because I had friends over and we were just doing it for fun, which is totally nerdy. So it might have been that one, but there's not a mint in that. So I'm wondering if there were just like crossovers that they were making more groups out of. So it might have been that one, but we really don't know for certain.
Well, they could have just put a pageant flair to a to a color too.
Or see, like if you know how if True Colors works, it's like I'm orange, blue, or blue, orange, green, yellow, or gold. So they might have said like, okay, this order is this. Like, so if they had like different orders of it, they might have been able to make more groups. Because I don't know how many people were in a group, but that's my guess.
Right. Well, speaking of True Colors, before we go on, I'd like to plug Diverse Style. Not everyone is the same color. So Diverse Style is a shoe company that have different than just your traditional nude color shoe. So you can find
white girl nude, we can call it.
Yeah, white girl nude. So if you're anything other than white girl nude, like they have an option for you, and you can find their shoes by going to shop.pageantplanet.com. So if any of the audience members who are listening, like they happen to know the name of the test that was used, or if anyone tuning in actually competed at Miss USA this past year, we'd love to hear from you about the test. Just email Jessie and let her know. But Katerina described the personalities of the girls in the Mint group as having a tenacity to be analytical and perfectionist. And she stated that those are certainly qualities that complement her accounting education and CPA and entrepreneurial related interests.
Apparently the groups had to build some kind of tower, and there was some discussion of marshmallows and sticks being used as tools to create this tower. And we really wish we had some footage of that exercise, which must have been hilarious and equally stressful for me, who's ultimately competitive. But Katerina explained that she and Miss New Mexico, along with their group members, wanted to write down and document a well thought out strategic plan on how to build their group's tower.
But for whatever reason, they weren't able to do that to their satisfaction. So when it didn't go as planned, the group kind of stalled out and couldn't finish the project. And finally, they all just decided to let the other group win.
Which, Stephen, I don't think you or I would be in the Mint group, because that is not our personality type to give up on a competition at all.
No, I'd be we dive in and we plan as we go. Like, man, just stick a toothpick here. We got this.
Right.
But, Katerina's fans that see her photos all the time on Instagram, and they occasionally get to hear her speak in video, but she doesn't do many of those on her social media channels.
So this story about the personality assessment was really cool because it gave us so much more insight into who she is as a person and gave us a glimpse into how she thinks and what she values. And it's quite fascinating for a pageant like Miss USA to have their contestants go through personality testing and then do an exercise like this. And it sounds like the entire experience really helped the contestants not only to understand themselves, but they seem to bond even more based on their shared strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. And like we use similar personality assessments with our staff at Pageant Planet. We started off with DISC, and then now we're using the Enneagram. And we found that these kinds of tools, like they help our teammates understand each other better and ultimately help us as individuals appreciate each other's differences as well. So like when I show up a certain way, if I have had a stressful week or a stressful call prior to maybe jumping on the phone call with Jessie, she's like, oh, this is how Steven acts under stress. So like I find that there's more grace when you understand more of like why the person are functioning the way that they do, and it helps you not to take it so personally.
Right. And Steven knows if he jumps on a call with me, he has to endure at least 5 minutes of small talk before we get started because I am a person that values personal connection. So he knows that about me too. So he has to make sure he has extra time.
And I love every minute of it. Sometimes it goes a little too long and we're like, okay, crap, what do we got to cover real quick? All right.
Like 2 minutes left. So we won one more Instagram submission I wanted to share. And this is from Asiana_Airlines_99. And they said the fact that not only is Katerina Rozmajzl beautiful on the inside, but she has shown her heart and is a beautiful human being on the inside. I'm assuming she means beautiful on the inside and outside. Yeah. She's definitely one of my most favorite Miss Georgia USAs and has my heart forever. Love her. And I want to say we've been pronouncing her name based on the way she introduced herself during the Miss USA preliminary pageant. So I'm hoping that that's right, but I'm guessing if it came right from the source, we're good to go. Because everyone else seemed to say it differently. So that's what we went with.
Yeah. Of course.
So unfortunately for Katerina, at the end of the night, she did not walk away with the Miss USA crown, but she really did a fantastic job at the pageant. But it must have been beyond difficult to be a judge because there were so many exceptional and accomplished women competing this past year. And I really hope this is not the last pageant for Katerina. I think she could make a splash on an international stage somewhere else.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And we're sure that the results must have been disappointing to Katerina, but as determined and ambitious as she is, no doubt she has a whole new list of goals to achieve. And she actually just crowned her successor earlier this month, so her official term as Miss Georgia USA is over. She is obviously in a transition period in her life, and we're not sure if she's done with pageantry yet. We'd love to see her again on the pageant stage, and for sure, her fans would like to see her compete again too.
But for now, she has an accounting degree to finish and a cosmetics empire to run, so she's got plenty to keep her busy. And whatever Katerina Rozmajzl decides to set her sights on next, we all know that the world will be watching, and we'll be watching too.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and if you've received any benefit from this show or from ones previous, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It might seem like a small action, but it really helps us keep the show going. Until next time.
Want to become a part of pageant history? Create a free contestant or business profile on pageantplanet.com to unlock hidden features and connect with other experts throughout the world.